Good morning, good afternoon. It's somewhere in the middle there. It's Valerie here, Valerie Ling. I live in Sydney, Australia. Wherever you are in the world listening into this, I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a hello and let me know where you are. I put a blog post this morning saying that I was noticing that I was feeling disappointed. And what then transpired is that a bunch of people sent me some virtual hugs, and I got some messages and I got some calls, and I'm very, very grateful to you for that. Look, I just wanted to come live to you 5 or 6 hours after that post to talk about being human and from something human or experiencing something human, moving in the direction of being human. What are you talking about? What I didn't put in the blog post is that for some reason this morning, as I was thinking about how I was feeling disappointed and really just feeling like the structures of my resolve in terms of what I had wanted to do, which is dissolving before me, was I thought about a celebrity, Michael J. Fox. And I thought, why would you think about Michael J. Fox? Like, what's the connection here? Do you know the story of Michael J. Fox? A long time ago, I read one of his books. He's actually written several books. If you haven't, it's a really good read. Pick up the book that he's written. There's several of them where he tells his story. Michael J. Fox, as we all know him, Family Ties, Spin City, Back to the Future. He looks small in stature, but he's dynamite in terms of his acting. And I remember just following Family Ties and just, I guess, kind of liking his character. He's a little obnoxious, but there's a lot of tenderness underneath the suit that he wears. Well, the story of Michael J. Fox is that in the early 90s, at the height of his career, he started to experience symptoms of what would later be discovered to be Parkinson's disease, really early onset at a really young age. And the story is that he pushed through. So if you watch Spin City, it's not evident that at the time he was actually in the peak, if you like, not only of his career, but also of experiencing Parkinson's disease. And when you read his book, he talks about how he was just in complete denial and essentially self medicated with alcohol and pushed through Spin City. Like, you can kind of look back at it now and think, good grief, like that has got to be some resolve. Nobody knew. In the book, he talks about the kinds of things, the lengths that he went through to try to hide what he was experiencing. And Michael J. Fox basically, I guess he sees himself as being an optimist because eventually, when he made peace with his diagnosis, a couple of things happened. So, out of something human comes something really human. Michael J. Fox, he officially retired, as I understand it, from his acting career, but he sidestepped into voicing. So, as I understand and remember, Stuart Little is voiced by him. And so, being able to lend his voice to his art was still something that he was able to do. However, he also is a keen advocate of Parkinson's disease in terms of educating people, in terms of setting up trust funds and raising awareness and things like that. And in one of his books, he actually talks about the decision that he makes to actually not be under any medication for the purposes of an interview, to really just to show and to demonstrate, what it is to have Parkinson's disease. And I guess maybe my mind wandered to Michael J. Fox for whatever reason. But, well, here's the reason. When I think about disappointment, when I thought about, your best laid plans needing to take a back seat or a detour to the thing that is most imminent and pressing in front of you, and when hubby woke up and took one look at me and had realized that I probably wasn't in a great headspace this morning, and really listened to me, and then gave me, three things that I needed to focus on, was very helpful. But the third thing that he landed on was, and you've got to prioritize your well-being. You've got to prioritize your well-being. The story of Michael J. Fox just helps me to remember that there are so many different levels of disappointment, isn't there? For him, it would have been his health. At that time, he had a family, the dreams that he would have had to be a dad that could play with his kids, run with his kids, grow old with his kids. He was at the peak of his career. From Family Ties to the movies that he was making, there was so much more of him to give. And if you read through his story, Michael J. Fox is also someone who, as many entrepreneurs and celebrities have alive, they also didn't do very well at school. And believe that they couldn't do it, and so to actually be able to break through into Hollywood and an acting career at such a young age, only to have it what seems to be taken away, would have been devastating. Now, if you know his story, you'll also know that in most recent years, he actually has appeared in various sitcoms and authentically just played his role with what he deals with in an everyday life. And he's taken something really truly human, that human disappointment. He gave into it. He may not have done the best with it to begin with, but eventually got to the point where he made peace with it. He accepted that detour and the change in his timeline and the change in his storyline wasn't going to disappear, and that was okay. He regroups, he rejigs, and the gift that he provides us with is to share with us that when we have experienced disappointment or adversity, something deeply wounding, we also experience it with other people. And that there is an opportunity to take that experience and join it with other people's experience and become a voice, a human voice that says, hey, this really sucks. This is something we don't know much about. This is something we need to know about. We need to make space in our lives and in our worlds for people who have Parkinson's disease, and we need to actually understand that there's a need for funding, and there's a need for research, and there's a need for embracing those people who suffer from the disease. And so out of something human and a human experience can also come something authentically human, which is the desire and the will to connect, the desire and the will to share our adversity, the desire and the will to join in our adversity and to keep moving forward, even if the direction was different from the one that we first started on. So with those words, I'm actually staring into my plans that will take a slight detour. And remember that you're in a human, and out of human things will come some human things. And I hope that this has given you an opportunity to pause and to say that, you know what, we can make peace with what we're going through. Okay, take care.